Imagine staring into a vast, unfathomable chasm in the frozen earth, a perfect circular void that seems to breathe. In Siberia, a phenomenon has been perplexing scientists and terrifying locals for decades. Massive craters appearing suddenly, some expanding at alarming rates, releasing gases that could ignite the very air. But this isn't just an ecological anomaly, it's a chilling echo of something far stranger, something that hints at forces beyond our immediate comprehension, deep beneath the permafrost. What if these gaping holes are just the first rumble of a much larger, more ancient secret rising to the surface? For generations, the vast, unforgiving expanse of the Siberian tundra has held its secrets close, a land synonymous with extremes where temperatures plunge to unimaginable lows, and the very ground beneath your feet is a millennia-old sculpture of ice and earth. It's here, in this remote, desolate wilderness, that a series of events began unfolding in the early 21st century, events that would not only challenge our understanding of geology, but also stir ancient fears and superstitions. It all started with the sudden, inexplicable appearance of colossal, perfectly circular holes in the ground, craters so vast and deep that they seemed to be carved by an unseen, powerful hand. No meteorites, no seismic tremors, no obvious human activity. They just appeared. Locals, accustomed to the tundra's strange ways, initially whispered tales of spirits and otherworldly portals, but scientists, equipped with satellite imagery and a thirst for concrete answers, knew something far more tangible, yet equally terrifying, was at play. This wasn't merely a geological curiosity, it was a scar on the face of the Earth, a wound that seemed to be actively growing, expanding, and at times even pulsating, as if the very planet itself was drawing a breath. And the more they studied these strange formations, the more unsettling the picture became, revealing a threat rooted in the deepest past, now awakening with a chilling urgency. The year 2014 marked a critical turning point. That summer, a reindeer herder on the Yamal Peninsula, a region whose name ominously translates to end of the land, made a discovery that would thrust the Siberian craters into global consciousness. From the air, a massive, almost perfectly circular hole, nearly 200 feet wide, yawned open in the landscape. Its walls, freshly exposed, plummeted hundreds of feet into the darkness, revealing layers of permafrost that had been frozen solid for tens of thousands of years. But it wasn't just its size or sudden appearance that terrified. It was what was happening within it. Steam, mixed with what looked like dense fog, continuously billowed from its depths, making a chilling, almost guttural sound. Subsequent expeditions, brave enough to descend into these frigid abysses, reported ground temperatures far warmer than the brutal surface and the distinct, pungent smell of natural gas, primarily methane. This wasn't an isolated incident. Within months, satellite imagery and local reports confirmed the existence of at least 7 more such craters, each one a fresh, raw wound in the earth. The scientific community scrambled for explanations. Initial theories ranged from underground explosions to sinkholes, but none fully accounted for the craters' unique characteristics, their uniform circularity, the lack of blast debris, and crucially, the sustained expulsion of gas. Researchers, battling the relentless Siberian cold and the sheer logistical nightmare of reaching these remote sites, began to piece together a terrifying hypothesis. They theorized that beneath the permafrost, immense pockets of methane gas, trapped for millennia, were suddenly being released. The permafrost, the perpetually frozen ground that acts as a cap, was thawing at an unprecedented rate, likely due to rising global temperatures. As the ice melted, The pressure from these trapped gases built until the ultimate breaking point was reached, culminating in a sudden explosive expulsion of methane, carving out these immense voids. This wasn't an earthquake, it was a detonation, a localized natural blast. But the implications were far more sinister than a simple explosion. This wasn't a one-time event, but a new, escalating phenomenon. Each crater became a literal release valve for an ancient, volatile substance. Some craters quickly filled with water, transforming into deadly, rapidly expanding lakes. The dread grew as researchers understood that these aren't static holes. They are dynamic, living entities, constantly changing, constantly expanding, and constantly releasing their potent payload into the atmosphere, creating a perilous feedback loop. The sheer unpredictability, the suddenness, and the magnitude of these events began to cast a long shadow over the future of the Siberian landscape. Was this just the beginning? Were there countless other methane bombs ticking away beneath the surface, waiting for their moment to explode? The chilling realization began to dawn. The land was not just responding to change, it was actively participating in it, with potentially catastrophic consequences. Then came the breathing crater, a term that first emerged in local folklore but quickly found its footing in scientific discussions due to its truly unsettling behavior. This particular crater, designated Bovalensky G5, located in the permafrost wilderness near the Bovalensky gas field, began to exhibit something truly unprecedented. Unlike its counterparts, which formed and then slowly stabilized, Bovalensky G5 didn't just sit there. It grew, almost visibly, measuring 50 meters wide at its birth. Within a single year, its diameter had expanded to an astounding 100 meters. But it wasn't just horizontal growth. The walls of the crater were collapsing inwards at an alarming rate, and the icy floor was descending. Cameras deployed by researchers captured footage that sent shivers down their spines. The surface of the water pooling at the bottom of the crater wasn't placid. It rippled, surged, and occasionally immense bubbles of gas would erupt from its depths with a disturbingly rhythmic cadence. Locals, who had witnessed its birth, swore it was like observing a colossal lung, inhaling and exhaling the very essence of the Earth. The air around the crater, even hundreds of feet away, reeked of methane, a gas over 80 times more potent than carbon dioxide in terms of short-term global warming potential. This wasn't just a geological curiosity. It was a catastrophic feedback loop in real time. Each breath the crater took released more trapped methane into the atmosphere, accelerating the permafrost melt, which in turn destabilized more gas pockets, leading to more collapses and potentially more craters. The implications were staggering. Scientists, working against time and the brutal elements, began to map the underground architecture of these methane reservoirs. They discovered that entire regions of Siberia were effectively sitting atop gigantic pressurized gas chambers, held in check only by the integrity of the permafrost. The breathing was a symptom of a larger, systemic breakdown. What they realized was that some craters weren't just forming from sudden explosions, but also from the slow, relentless release of gas upwards through cracks, melting ice, and destabilizing the ground over weeks or months, creating a slow-motion collapse that was almost more terrifying in its inevitability. The deeper they dug, metaphorically and literally, the more ancient methane hydrate deposits they found. Crystalline structures of water and methane, formed under immense pressure and cold, locked away for hundreds of thousands of years. These hydrates were now destabilizing, contributing to the colossal gas releases. This wasn't just a local problem on the Yamal Peninsula. It was a global alarm bell, ringing from the deepest corners of the Arctic. The sheer volume of methane trapped beneath the permafrost, waiting to be unleashed, dwarfed what had already been released. The breathing crater became a visceral, terrifying symbol of a planet under immense stress, its ancient mechanisms now reacting in ways we've never witnessed before, threatening to unleash a gas cloud so potent it could fundamentally alter our atmosphere and accelerate climate change beyond our most pessimistic predictions. What they discovered next changed everything. The ground itself was becoming a battleground between ancient ice and rising temperatures, and the craters were merely the messengers of a much larger global shift. The chilling realization was that these breathing formations weren't just anomalies. They were emerging portals to a planetary past, unleashing forces long dormant, forces that could reshape our very future. The mystery wasn't just about how they formed, but what they represented, a monumental geological warning about the consequences of unlocking Earth's ancient, frozen secrets. The Earth, it seemed, was not just breathing, it was sighing, and each exhalation carried a terrifying truth. To this day, the Siberian craters continue to appear, continue to expand, and continue to breathe their potent gas into the atmosphere. The scientific community is locked in a desperate race against time, utilizing drones, satellite technology, and brave ground expeditions to monitor these formidable formations. The breathing crater is a stark reminder that the consequences of a rapidly warming planet are not just theoretical. They are unfolding in real time, etched into the very face of the Earth. These immense pits, once a geological enigma, are now understood to be an increasingly urgent environmental crisis, a visceral manifestation of a planetary system under immense stress.